Warning: the following video contains explicit language which may be offensive to some viewers or inappropriate for children. The content within this video is intended for mature audiences only.
Hello and welcome to this video. I hope everyone's doing alright, and I hope everyone's having fun, and I hope the universe is treating you fairly. You may have noticed that I have this here. It's a heat pad, it's nothing serious. I slept on my shoulder wrong last night, and it hurt, so this is just like an adhesive heat patch. It's got the muscle heat cold stuff in it. This particular one's made by Icy Hot, and it's cheap. The HEB has them, you get like a 6 or 8 of them for like $13, $14, but that's what this is. In case you're wondering, I want to get that all set forth out in the very beginning, so there's no wondering, so you know there's nothing. There's not an injury or anything here. That's just, well, it's just I slept on my neck wrong. Today's video is actually going to be about a movie I watched over the Christmas holidays. I've watched it a couple more times for this video, and I need to say right up front, I enjoyed this movie. I liked it. The reason why I'm saying this up front is because there are going to be parts of this video where you're going to swear up and down that I hate this movie. But no, I actually liked it. Now, there are some parts of this movie that just really, really rubbed me wrong. So, but overall, this is a good movie. In all honesty, this is a movie about the Spanish conquistadors invading Central, what we know today as Central and South America, mainly the Aztecs, i.e. the name. There are some Batman analogs. There's a lot of really good Spanish names. My wife and I had her look at the names, had her look at the wiki on it, the naming and stuff, and she said it looked pretty good. It looked, and there are very few of the actual names that I can pronounce, so I will be using their Batman analog name. Or I'll point, like, there's a Jaguar woman who is this movie's analog for Catwoman. You have Jungle Ivy, who is the analog for Poison Ivy. Or Forced Ivy, I think. It's either Jungle Ivy or Forced Ivy. I can't remember straight off. I believe it's Forced Ivy, though. You have you have Cortez, who is an analog for Two-Face, and there's a priest, Yoka, Y-O-K-A, Yoka, who is a Joker analog. So, like I said, I'm going to be using the Batman, contemporary Batman names for our characters, because I cannot, in good faith, destroy these names in this video. They're really cool names when I heard my wife pronounce them. So yeah, it's and I don't want to disrespect the actors and actresses that voice these characters or the characters themselves. So yeah, This movie is pretty much a Batman, Batman's version of Europeans coming to the New World. Our Batman character is a privileged young boy whose mom had died off screen before the movie starts. His father's killed by conquistadors. And basically an Aztec parallel to young Bruce Wayne finding the Batcave. Our Aztec Batman finds the Aztec Greek god. Or not Greek god, the Aztec Bat god. There's the Jungle Woman or Catwoman analog is taking advantage of the chaos and fighting to basically steal what she can from who she can. She don't care. The Forced Ivy or Poison Ivy variant in this movie acts more like Swamp Thing. Not only Swamp Thing, but Alan Moore's Swamp Thing. If you don't know, there's videos on YouTube about Alan Moore's run on Swamp Thing and the creation of John Constantine. And better yet, you can read it. They've compiled it in a graphic novel, and it is well worth reading, especially for the environmental stuff, the climate stuff, and all that. And it's a really good read. But I digress. Two-Face is created. Cortez gets half his face burned in a fire, and that's how we get the Two-Face. The Joker character starts out as a priest and advisor to King Montezuma, and basically because of all the chaos and killing and stuff, just loses his mind, paints his face, and works. And and that he does the chaotic. He's the one thing you can't factor in because he's such a loose cannon and such an odd, not odd, his actions and stuff are very chaotic, very unpredictable. So yeah, he's the force that comes in and screws up everyone's plans, regardless if it's the conquistadors or the indigenous people. Yeah, he's in it for the chaos. And it tells a good story on, and this is where it's going to sound like I didn't care for the movie. This movie would have been a better movie if they would have stuck with just the Aztec religions, Aztec mythologies, the supernatural mysticism, and the Europeans coming in and, lying, murdering, raping, some more murder, a little bit of theft, or a whole lot of theft, enslavement, some more rape, just, doing what Europeans did back then when they encountered indigenous peoples. And I think if they would have just stuck didn't Batmanify it, and just stuck to. You could tell the same stories without the Batman. The Batmanification of it. I think it would have been better. This isn't bad. They did it. They blended it all right. But if you're a fan, if you're a history buff or a Central and South American history buff or Latino, you might be offended by it. There are some stereotypes in there that just kind of rub me the wrong way. But they may be things that I'm overcompensating as a half-breed, part white, part Native American. But the actual Latino communities or the people descended from the Aztecs and stuff like that may not find offensive. I don't know. It just kind of rubbed me the wrong way. Some of the stereotypes and generalizations. I think they could have gone deeper into the Spanish stuff or the Aztec culture, the religious hypocrisies of the Spanish, and stuff like that. And I don't hate it. It just the Batmanification of it is, I don't know. It's just I don't think it was necessary. So I guess what I'm trying to say, I'm taking the longest way possible to say that it was unnecessary. The costumes that are analogs, are Catwoman analog, our Batman analog, our Two-Face analog, and our Joker analog are beautiful. I love the way they stripped down the Joker character to this raw, psychotic, creature. He devolves from a human, and as the madness takes hold and grips him, he becomes more and more like a wild animal, a crazed wild animal at that. Cortez, the Two-Face analog. Okay, yeah. Not anything too terribly new, or there. Our Batman analog. Our Batman analog. It's not bad, but it's too on the nose. It's too on the nose to the contemporary Batman of the comics and animated series and stuff like that, to be anything but a Batman analog. The voice actor did a hell of a good job. The script was good. I like the script. The script was good for what it was, for what it's trying to be, for what it is. It is one of those things that I would recommend it if you want just something on in the background while you're cleaning house or whatever. Just generalization. Something's background noise, I would recommend it. Now, to sit down and invest time in it, not so much. It's one of those things where it's kind of like the comic Batman Off-World, which in and of itself is a great story. It's not a Batman story. Same with this. This is a wonderful story, great potential, not a Batman story. It's just, when you take historical events and you try to comic book them, because there's some really good historical fiction out there. This is not bad historical fiction. It's just lacking a lot. And I've got to repeat this. I did enjoy it. No matter, as much as it sounds like I'm just shitting all over this movie, I did enjoy it. Yes, there's some, like I said, the characterization of the Batman analog, kind of shitting all over that. The Jungle Ivy. Now, they could have ditched the Jungle Ivy or the Forest Ivy and went with Swamp Thing, because, or a analog for Swamp Thing, because I think that would have played better with the way the script was written than the Forest Ivy or Jungle Ivy. But you wouldn't have got the hot, sexy plant woman scene. But you don't need that if you got a super strong story. So yeah, this movie was actually had a very, very limited release in theaters. Like to the tune of less than a week. It was released in Mexico on September 18, 2025. Then released in America on September 19, 2025. And HBO Max, well, HBO and Warner Brothers owns HBO, or HBO owns Warner Brothers. I'm not sure. And I'm not sure how with Netflix buying Warner Brothers. I don't know how the shakeup on that's going to go. But this was in theaters for, I think it was released, according to Wikipedia, between 50 and 70 theaters. It was like a week-long release. I think there's something, and I'm not real sure exactly how it is, but I know there are certain things that, in order for companies to get tax breaks or what have you, and recommendations and award nominations and stuff, certain things have to, and I think that's what they did with this. I think they released it for the minimum amount of time possible that they could get like any kind of animation, theatrical nominations or possible nominations. I think this could have been a better movie. Yeah, I was going down another line of thought, but my brain just checked out on me on that one. But yeah, this could have been, if they would have left the Batmanization out of it, this could have been a better movie. Like I said, it is worth a watch. If you have something you want your kids to sit down with your kids and watch, this is good for that too. Like I said, if you're a history fan or a history buff, this is going to probably be very painful to watch, especially this particular time frame, this geographical location. Yeah. The movie, because of its limited run, haven't found anything on how much it costs to make, but its box office take-in for both the United States and Mexico was $663,244. Yes, I have a friend that runs an ATM business that regularly carries twice to three times that amount of money to fill his ATMs. So yeah, it is. It's what it is. But yeah, this is, like I said, this is a decent enough movie. The animation is top shelf. I like the animation. I like the color palette they used. And it is. I mean, as much as I've shit on this movie throughout this video, check it out. I mean, like I said, you don't have to sit there and invest a whole lot of time or attention to it. But you know, if you're a Batman fan, you know, more than a casual go to movies and type thing Batman fan, but you're not like the hardcore, read everything by Frank Miller or Tom King or Alan. If you're not that hardcore, you can still, if you're just I saw the Christopher Nolan movies and I went back and watched the Michael Keaton movie and blah this, blah that. Yeah, you can enjoy it. I can imagine some really hardcore Batman fans just losing their shit over it. Because it is, if you're that hard, I mean, I'm more than a casual fan. When I was a teenager in the 80s, 1980s, I was that way about like Frank Miller, Alan Moore, Grant Morrison, they, their, what they wrote was law, was, handed down from the proverbial comic gods of that time. So yeah, I understand that mindset. But now that I'm older, I'm like, it is good entertainment. It's something I enjoy reading over and over. But it's not something I understand that at 16, my view of comic writers and artists was a whole lot more religious than it is now. Whereas I'm more of a I enjoyed his literature. I enjoyed his art. It's not something that I have to just do. It's this movie is kind of, like I said, it is worth watching. Regardless of me shitting on it through most of this video. Don't take it if any kind of that seriousness or anything like that. Just accept it for what it is and rock on. And that's about it. Like I said, it's like 89 minutes long. It's a minute short than an hour and a half. Like I said, it's on HBO, the HBO streaming service, whatever the fuck they're calling it this week. So yeah, it's worth checking out. I'm waiting to see what gets approved and unapproved as Netflix settles in as the owners. So we'll figure that all out when we get there. So until next time, everybody, remember to be a good human. Be good to other humans. Peace.
Hey, it's 10 p.m. Do you know where your children are?